Arrests and protests as China's new national security laws come into force in Hong Kong. The pro-democracy movement considers how to respond.
I think very obviously the purpose of law is to change Hong Kong from rule of law to rule of fear.
Preliminary results suggest that Vladimir Putin has won a huge majority in the referendum he called to allow him to be Russia's president for another 16 years. The coronavirus pandemic starts to make its effect felt on jobs, with the UK being hit by 12,000 redundancies in the last 2 days. America strikes a deal to buy almost the entire world's supply of a drug that helps recovery from Covid-19. Donald Trump has called reports that Russia paid the Taliban bounties for the killing of US soldiers in Afghanistan a hoax. Speaking to Fox News, he cast doubt on whether intelligence about the bounties ever existed and said that even if it did exist, it never reached him. This comes after claims in US media that he received a written briefing earlier this year.
The New Zealand Health Minister David Clark has resigned in the wake of recent controversies in his handling over Covid-19. He was criticised for breaching strict quarantine rules for travellers returning from overseas and also for ignoring lockdown by taking his family to the beach. The United States has registered more than 52,000 new Covid cases in the past 24 hours. That is a new one-day record. Daily figures from the Hopkins University show another 706 fatalities. That brings the nationwide death toll to 128,000, which is the largest figure in the world. Hospitalizations are increasing again in several cities, including Houston, Texas, and Phoenix, Arizona, because of the fresh surges.
Let's have a look at some of your front pages on this Thursday morning. Let's start with the Times newspaper, leading with plans for a bespoke immigration arrangement between the UK and Hong Kong. That would allow 3 million eligible residents to live permanently in Britain. More on that story, of course, on the programme this morning.
The Daily Express is leading with a warning from scientists that more towns and cities will follow Leicester into a local lockdown after identifying what it calls coronavirus clusters across the country. The paper says Bradford is one area of concern.
Front page Daily Mirror carrying a montage of some of the NHS staff and care workers who have died with coronavirus. The tribute comes as the UK prepares to mark the 72nd anniversary of the NHS, which is happening on Sunday.
Let's go online. There are fears about the future of curry houses. That's one of the most watched pieces, read pieces on the BBC website. The industry is warning that many family-owned restaurants are worried that they'll struggle to reopen when restrictions are lifted.
Smartphones and weak laws have helped create the perfect storm of addictive, round-the-clock gambling. That's according to a new report into British betting.
Let's take you through these proposals by the House of Lords Gambling Committee. They include a ban on betting companies sponsoring sports kit or advertising in stadia. It also calls on the government to regulate so-called video game loot boxes, where players pay to unlock hidden rewards as they work through a game.
The report goes on to say problem gambling should be treated as a common mental health disorder by the NHS and that more specialist clinics should be opened.